Welcome to Wheels Boy. It's not often that we get the chance to drive something that's truly one of a kind, but there's no other way to describe the NETA GT, the world's only affordable electric grand tourer. Welcome to Wheels Boy, where we cover the newest, coolest, and wildest vehicles from the Chinese car market. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. How do we define affordable? In this case, prices for the GT start at just under $25,000 for a base rear motor version, while our dual motor test car comes in at just over $31,000. One thing that remains the same regardless of motor count is the styling, and thank goodness for that. If this thing has a bad angle, I can't find it. In fact, can we take a second to appreciate the styling revolution that has gone down over at NETA? They started off making practical but frumpy EVs like the NETA V, then they dropped the incredible NETA S sedan on us, and now this. My, how times have changed. If I'm gonna nitpick, I would say that it doesn't quite nail the classic sports car or GT proportions here on the side. Just a little bit too, I don't know, squished up. I'd also like to see less of a wheel gap here, but that's something the aftermarket will be fixing very quickly, I'm sure. Speaking of wheels, these are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. No cheap off-brand eco tires here. Rear motor versions of the GT come with either a 64 or 74 kilowatt-hour battery pack, providing 560 and 660 kilometers of CLTC range, respectively. Dual motor cars like ours come with a 78 kilowatt-hour pack that will take you a claimed 580 kilometers. NETA says that all of them can fast charge from 30 to 80% in 30 minutes. Since we're categorizing this thing as a GT and not a true sports car, pesky things like cargo area must be addressed. Back here, we have 297 liters of space. That's less space than a BMW 4 Series, which is about the same length, but it's still enough space for two people's luggage, no problem. You can also lay down the rear seats if you're not going to bring any friends, and there's a 50-liter frunk up there. I don't think you're going to be especially surprised to learn that an electric GT this affordable comes with some compromises. Nowhere is that truer than here on the interior, but first, the good news. These are real heated and cooled leather seats. That is a 17.6-inch center screen with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8155 processor, and a majority of the most important touch points on the inside of the car are actually pretty soft. The bad news is everything else is cheap, hard plastic. Take, for example, this plastic piece here on the door around these annoying touch capacitive window switches. It transitions from blue to white, to match the rest of the interior. However, it looks like it was done with a spray can and a very, very shaky hand. It never actually fully transitions to pure white. There's these little spots in there. They end up just looking dusty. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to rub it off thinking it was just dirty. The center console manages to make a much smoother transition from blue to white, but that effect is a little bit undermined by the fact that it feels like Lego. The faux carbon fiber on the side is creaky and also even lower quality feeling. None of this is surprising considering the budget that we're talking about, except for one thing. These are real heated and cooled leather seats, but they have no adjustable lumbar support. That means that this GT car, which is supposed to be great at gobbling up miles, gives me a backache after only about 30 minutes of driving. NETA, the next time you make a car like this, don't give me a 17.6-inch screen, giving me a 14-inch screen, but give me adjustable lumbar. The real backache begins, however, when you sit in the back seat. That's right, this is a 2+2 coupe, which means that you can bring your best friends or your worst enemy and force them to sit in the back seat. I am 5'9" or 1.75 meters tall, and as you can see, my head is right up against the overhead glass, being roasted by the bright sun at the moment. My knees are right up against the seat back. Not a ton of space. I wouldn't want to sit back here for very long at all. One point of interest. Here between the seats is this white panel with an interesting little logo. It made me think maybe there was a USB port back here, but if there is, I can't find it. I am pleased to inform you that the NETA GT is more than just a pretty face. This dual motor version has 340 kilowatts and 620 newton meters of torque. That's enough to rocket it to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.7 seconds. This thing is fast. So fast, in fact, that a few of our team members were actually made to feel a little bit nauseous after a few hard launches. I guess that's good?
You're aided in your quest for speed by the inclusion of a launch control system, which is activated by the small crystal switch on the center console. Pull and hold to activate launch control, or flick it to quickly go between sport mode and one other driving mode of your choice, either eco, comfort, or one pedal.
Truth be told, I expected this thing to be a beast in the straights and an absolute mess in the corners, but I was wrong. Keeping in mind that I'm driving at responsible speeds on public roads, but this thing feels fast and planted. I kept it mostly in sport mode because that's the mode in which the steering is at its heaviest and the throttle is at its most responsive. Note that I said the steering was heavy, not communicative. I know which directions the wheels are pointed, but apart from that, there's not a lot of information coming from them.
There isn't a ton of body roll, even though the suspension feels compliant over potholes and speed bumps. The suspension in question is double wishbone up front and multi-link in the rear. The only thing that really gives away this car's humble origins is the amount of vibration that makes its way into the cabin.
What doesn't make its way into the cabin is a ton of wind and tire noise. Even at highway speeds and despite these frameless windows, this thing feels pretty refined. What doesn't feel refined, and I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to complain about, are these safety systems in this car. They are way too sensitive. They beep at you if you come within shouting distance of any object, and most annoyingly, the rear sensors will let you know whenever a car comes up behind you, even at normal speeds. It vibrates the seats, and it has a display that will flash at you here on the instrument cluster. It's just too much. I turned them off, and they stayed off. So, can the NETA GT be referred to as a true GT, a true Grand Tourer? Yes. Yes, I think it can. In fact, this is a GT for the everyman. It's not meant for cruising the French Riviera, it's more for cruising by public beaches. Just make sure you bring a towel or something to put behind your low back. For now, the NETA GT is in a class of one, but I doubt I'm alone when I say I hope this is a sign of things to come, a new era of sporty electric cars to complement all those practical sedans, SUVs, and hatchbacks. Are you interested in buying this or any other Chinese vehicle and you don't live in the United States, Canada, or right-hand drive markets? Reach out to us via email at sales@wheelsboy.cn. We can connect you with a reliable exporter of Chinese vehicles. All right, that's all for today's review. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media. Links are in the description below. And as always, like, subscribe, and hit the bell.